So, welcome everybody to our Live Bytes session. Thank you for joining us. Today's session is all about associations, and we've got an amazing panel of people who've joined us this afternoon. So we'll go do a round robin and introduce everyone in a second. If you are new to Live Bytes, it's something we started this year. It is an event that we hold on the first Friday of every month. So if you're ever at a loss on a Friday evening, on the first Friday evening of the month, and you want something to do, chances are there will be a Live Bytes event going on. The topics are always different. We're always doing something new. Sometimes it's discussions with designers. It might be products. This week we're obviously talking about association. So we're always trying to do different things. We've got an amazing panel. Joining us this afternoon, we have members. We've got Joe and Stuart from the ALD, it's the Association of Lighting Design. We have Mig from the ABTT, the Association of British Theatre Technicians. We have Peter from the ILP, which is the Institution of Lighting Professionals. We have Sharon, who's joined us from WIL, which is Women in Lighting. We have Matt and Peter from Plaza, Professional Light and Sound Association. We have David. I haven't seen Nikki in the room yet, but David's definitely here from SBTD, Society of British Theatre Designers. And I'm not sure if I've seen Mike in the room yet, but we should. We might, Mike, if he's not here with us yet. Nikki has joined us. Hello, Nikki. How are you? And we should have Mike Lefebvre from the STLD, Society of Television Lighting Designers. So I would say that our alphabet is pretty well represented here this afternoon. So thank you for everyone for taking the time to join us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kick off and just do a round robin so everyone can say hello and tell us a little bit about their association and what they do. So I'm just going to go through the list as it is in front of me, so in no particular order. Joe from ALD, Joe Town, we'll start with you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joe Town, and I'm the chair of the ALD. The ALD is a UK lighting association for people working in performance lighting. We represent lighting, video designers, production electricians, programmers, associate lighting designers, in-house lighting technicians, and associate members who are people who just love lighting. And we also have student group and corporate members. And I think people just think we are the Association of Light Designers, but for the last couple of years, we've tried to name ourselves just the ALD, partly because we think everybody in lighting, who makes lighting, who programs it, who rigs it, are all part of that artistic team of making lighting happen. So we really are for people in performance lighting as a whole. So if you've ever felt that you couldn't be a member, please think again. The ALD is an association for our members, run by our members, and everyone, bar our exec director, volunteers their time to work towards an exciting and active association. And I'm just, for people who don't know, I'd run through our aims really, and our aims is to focus on people in performance lighting and video and make a world better place to work through action, to be an organisation for all our professional students, companies and associates, to communicate to our membership through our Focus magazine, networking events, industry collaborations and social meetings, and to create unity, to make us stronger together through common working practice, to campaign and work towards improving working conditions and resources, and to be sustainable through supporting each other in work and helping gain greener practices and products. No time like this year has any of that felt stronger and more important than it does right now. It's been a real focus on who we are and what we want to be and what we want to be to our members. I became chair 3 years ago, and I saw it as an opportunity to be, I don't know, some sort of figurehead in the industry, to help promote women in lighting and to promote lighting careers from the roots upwards, because I started my lighting career as an apprentice and had no formal training, and I've always promoted lighting from being a technician. And since I became chair, our exec committee is now a 50-50 gender split committee. And I'm very proud of that. But there's a lot more to do to improve diversity and social economics in our industry and the association. And I'd be very happy to talk about our ideas on that later on. It's been a busy year campaigning and looking after people, and I'd like to talk about that a bit later, I'm sure, through questions. But that is the ALD in a nutshell. Thank you.
So I'm just going to join in that, so that obviously, because I'm from the ALD as well, I initially joined the executive of the ALD as a person who had come from a non-design background, and I still represent the non-design side. I've now actually moved across to the corporate side, because the link between the designers and the corporate side is a strong part of the association as well. But I did represent the non-designers, which we used to call them, before we turned them all into professional members. And since the 7 years, I think 7 or 8 years ago, I joined the exec, the amount of people representing the technicians and the more technical side has got much larger, and we're now more of a collaboration, which is where we wanted to be. It's taken a little bit of time for that change to filter its way through, but now we are progressing monumentally towards that. And it's about the lighting team, not necessarily just the designers.
Thanks, Stuart.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Next, Mig, if it's okay, I'd like to come to you. Mig from the ABTT.
Absolutely. It's lovely to be the other side, Declan. It's nice. So my name is Meg Burgess. I am an ABTT trustee councillor, and we have other trustee councillors that work alongside the ABTT. So the ABTT is the Association of British Theatre Technicians. It's a membership organisation which sets and upholds standards in technical excellence, safety and compliance for theatre and live performance. So I think the key thing to remember with the ABTT is that we encompass everyone that works backstage. So that we have a home for everybody. If you work backstage, we are here for you. It's a resource, our membership is a resource to support members through the provision of information and advice on good practice. So safe working and enforcement within the theatre industry. We do lots of advising on safety and planning and good practice, and we provide publications to support that knowledge as well. So hopefully you've all seen our guidance notes in the current pandemic, 101 through 10, I think we're on 106 now. So yeah, go and have a little look at those. They're available for everybody to look at. We have various different committees, subcommittees. So we have a training and education committee. We have a really, really healthy training activity that goes on at the ABTT. So we've got our bronze, silver and gold awards. We're very proud to have made progress in finding a COVID safe way of still delivering those at the moment. So they are still occurring, although I don't know that they're going on in lockdown, so you might have to pause for 4 weeks like everybody else. We also produce Sightline as well, which is our publication that comes through, and that has lots of safety issues and really interesting articles also. I don't really want to go too much into what we're doing. That's not what we're saying now, Declan, is it? What we've been up to. That'll be later on. I think Declan's muted, but okay. So I think I'll talk to you a little bit about what we've been doing later on. But I think in essence, the ABTT is there for everybody that works backstage, and our standards are definitely upholding standards in technical excellence. And we have lots of different subcommittees within our association that work towards that in safety, in we've got a historical committee as well, so there's lots of different committees that you can participate in and join in with if you want to get involved. And I'll talk to you more about what we've been up to during lockdown later on.
Awesome, thanks, Mig. Sorry, I'm actually going to leave my microphone on all the time because I clearly don't have the skill set to manage that. There you go. Thanks, Meg. That's brilliant. So next, I'd like to Peter Harrison from the ILP. If we can come to you next, that'd be wonderful.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to represent Institution of Lighting Professionals. The ILP is nearly 100 years old. It was formed in 1924 to support initially street lighting engineers, but now we have around 2,000 members who work in the arts, who are artists, asset managers, consultants, designers, manufacturers, and learned institutions such as universities and colleges. We are a licensed institution, which means that we can assess and register engineers through Engineering Council for them to join the register of just over 220,000 engineers in the UK. We're formed into 7 lighting delivery centres, LDCs, around the country, around the UK and Ireland. Each has their own committee of volunteers. And we also have a national group called YLP, the Young Lighting Professionals, where we offer additional support for younger entrants into the industry, and we arrange special events and training and continuing professional development for them. We do arrange and hold national events. We hold events mainly through our lighting delivery centres, and we support the LDC committees in providing continuing professional development in those events. We also develop and deliver training. Traditionally, that's been face-to-face, but the challenges of late mean that we've built and have now operating a training platform, so quite a bit of our content is online or is going to be online for delivery. We also represent the lighting industry at various levels. We represent the lighting industry, or we have representation of lighting panels with CIE at an international level, LUCI, which operates within Europe, British Standards Institution, and lots of other UK committees and professional bodies representing all the way through up to central government. We publish the Lighting Journal, which is a journal, 10 issues of that per year for lighting professionals, providing news, reviews, interviews, and articles on the latest thinking. And we also produce a number of professional lighting guides to support lighting professionals in various aspects of their work, and technical reports. And we have over 30 free to download guidance notes and other documents to support the wider lighting community and the general public in delivering lighting. And it was interesting to note a previous comment from Joe about gender balance. And I think we probably just about trump everybody, because our organisation has 7 full-time employees and 2 part-timers, of which I'm the only male. So I'll just leave you with that thought and hand back to you, Declan. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Peter. Next, I'd like to come to Nikki and David. I'm not sure who will take the lead first, or if you've got sort of had a plan between yourselves as to who's going to start. So, David, because you're on my screen, I'll come to you first. And then if it's not you, please, feel free to hand back to Nikki. So yeah, thank you very much. I know SBTD doesn't really represent lighting designers per se, but I know that a lot of people do sort of cross-pollinate, and there are some, set designers who do lighting, and there's a little bit of cross-pollination. And I think the work you guys do is important. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Declan. Nick, I don't know if you want to give us a kind of the overview of the society, but yeah, just picking up on that point, yeah, we do have a number of members who are lighting designers, and as well as joining the association as a settled costume designer. We do encourage all of our other collaborators to come and join the society as well, kind of in one of our other tiers of membership. Nikki, do you want to give us a little overview?
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, Nikki.
Yeah, really just to say the Society of British Theatre Designers. Hi, Declan. Hi. It's a registered charity. I am one of the directors, and then we have a committee that we all sort of work together. And Fiona Watt is our active secretary and does a lot in organising. And actually, we've changed quite a lot in this last year. We were founded in 1976, sort of primarily out of the Prague quadrennial that happens. And in fact, that's where a lot of lighting designers have come and join us when they've wanted to participate and be part of that big exhibition in Prague, because our society organises it. As you said anyway, Declan, there are people that do both anyway. And I think there is more mixture now of people sort of having multiple skill sets, certainly sort of design and video design, as well as design and lighting. So you're very welcome to join us. Our main membership, I would say, is predominantly set and costume designers for performance. And we've actively in this last year and a little bit beyond been trying to broaden who that includes, and that it's not just traditional theatre platforms, but people creating their own work, including circus performance, street performance, and design in all its many splendid forms. So that's certainly something we're active on doing at the moment. And as part of that, out of the last couple of years, we've started what we've called working groups, which David and I will talk about that a little bit later. But they came out of the Value of Design campaign, which indeed we shared with ALD and other organisations to improve to the general public and indeed to the industry at large quite how important design is, from simple things like us not being credited in photographs. As we know now, digital content is enormous, and designers, set, costume and lighting, video, very often we're not represented in those photos, only the performer is. So very keen to change things like that. And then from the working groups, it's come out of people's personal passions. So the eco group is very strong, the mentoring group is very strong, and there are other working groups sort of coming along nicely. And in fact, David is very much part of a new division, shall we say, rather than a working group of communication. I'm sure we all feel it, but that our society is comparatively small, and as with all of us, run entirely by volunteers. But we have a lot of new active young committee members, and communications have really had a boost this year with having David's commitment and support of some other members to get out what we're doing. I think it's we've been doing wonderful things for years, but maybe not shouting loudly enough about it. So yeah, that's a little précis of us, and we'll talk more in detail about what we've been doing, because we've done a lot this year. Thanks very much, Declan.
Brilliant, thanks, Nikki. Next, I'd like to come across to Sharon from WIL. Hello, Sharon, if you like to.
Hi, I guess we're the odd one out because we're not an association, but thank you for inviting us. What Women in Lighting is a project that has sort of spiraled massively and become a global network and community. So myself and my business partner, Martin Lupton, we basically made a big mistake. We made a film about LEDs, and we interviewed lots of architectural lighting designers around the world. And then we showed our film in different places, and we were basically called out because we'd interviewed something like 19 men and 3 women. And it hadn't occurred to us that we'd done this. We just did it. We just asked designers around the world. And basically, this made us sort of look at the architectural lighting industry and sort of look at statistics about things like the amount of women speaking at conferences, the amount of female keynote speakers, women on judging panels, women on editorial panels, etc., etc. And we were actually extremely shocked at how underrepresented women were, given that our industry is about 50-50. So we wanted to write not only our mistake, but to challenge everybody else. So we started this project, Women in Lighting. Essentially, it is we don't have any pretensions to be an association. We are partnered with associations like Peter at the ILP, the SLL, the IALD, and various other associations in different countries. It's a project that has a website. It's a digital database of videos and interviews with women in lighting around the world. We've been to lots of different countries and done interviews ourselves. There's also a place where women can upload their own interviews, whether that's video, audio, or text. And basically the goal of the project was to sort of elevate the profile of women working in lighting, to celebrate their work, to make them very visible, and to inspire other women and other people to see what they had achieved, and essentially sort of to challenge the industry and to sort of change the fact that when we would go to, for example, Light Fair in America, why was there in the last 15 years, has there been, 3 keynote speakers and, I don't know, 50 guys? So it's basically grown and grown and grown. We have ambassadors for the project in just over 70 countries. So that's a female lighting designer or a light artist or somebody working in education who is supporting the project locally. And any of the events or online events we do, or any of the initiatives, we're able to sort of get that out around the globe. I think it's very important to say that we started off with architectural lighting designers, female architectural lighting designers, because that's what we are and that's what we know. But it has sort of gone into other areas, and we welcome all women in lighting. So that's manufacturers and artists and theatre designers, etc., etc. And it's slowly building up, into those areas. We also, it's not about, it's the whole project is completely based on equality. We believe that having sort of 50% diversity in everything we do only makes the industry better, or all industries better. So we obviously welcome male supporters, and there are a lot of men involved as well. So it's really nice to hear, just in those few descriptions at the start, the way the ILP describe themselves and the way the ALD describe themselves. So we're definitely all heading in the right direction. That's about it, I think.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Who's next on my list? Peter Heath from Plaza. If I can come to you next.
Yeah, thank you, Declan. Apologies for that. Especially what I'm about to say. So I'm sort of humbled by the company that I'm in with all these incredible people, and lamps and lighting and designing, and I'm the MD of Plaza, which stands for the Professional Lighting and Sound Association. And bearing in mind I come from an audio background, I think I should rename it as the Perfectly Loud and Sound Association, just to try and get some balance back in with some audio. I'm only joking. So what is Plaza? Plaza has been around for certainly approaching 45 years. And just to give you some idea of what it says, what we say about ourselves on the website, it says that we're a lead international membership body for those who supply technologies and services to the events and entertainment industries. And we work to try to fully represent anyone who plays an active role, and by highlighting best practice and safe working conditions. We support our members through advisory and support services across the business, technically, and regulatory issues, as well as we provide a range of membership benefits, which include events and training courses, and training programs for riggers and production technicians. In addition to our association, we have commercial products, and our commercial divisions also play a crucial role for the industry. So we have two magazines, Lighting and Sound International, which is based here in the UK, and Lighting and Sound in America, obviously based in America. And we regularly have these products audited, and they come back as being industry favourites. They get very, very good scores, which we're incredibly proud of. And the magazines are a great opportunity for our members and non-members to promote themselves and give themselves additional visibility within the industry. In addition to our magazines, we also have our two shows, which is Plaza Focus Leeds and Plaza London. And many people consider Plaza as just about a show in London. Well, in actual fact, we're an awful lot more than a show in London. We are an international trade body with 26% of our membership based outside of the UK, and nearly 19% of it is based within mainland Europe. And in order that we try to represent everybody, we recently opened a European office just before COVID hit. So that was perfect timing. And we've been working hard to try to not only inform our members in the UK about what's going on from a COVID point of view, but also our members across Europe and across the US too. In addition to that, we also are responsible and are administrators of the NRC, the National Rigging Certificate, which has been going now for, I think, 12 or 13 years. This is now an internationally recognized certification, because we have assessment centers in parts of Europe now, and we're currently talking to many other different types of industries where rigging and this kind of skill is needed. So this is broadening for us, which is fantastic. We're also members of the World Entertainment Technology Federation, which is made up of 4 associations, which is NAM, the VPLT, ESTA, and ourselves. And we work closely with these other associations on international issues, and we try and work together to make sure that we are being consistent with the information that we're passing out to everybody. In addition to that, to try and keep people engaged this year with the lack of the shows, we've done some Plaza online kind of content, which is not dissimilar from this. And we'll talk about it a bit later on, but we were one of the founders of the We Make Events campaign, which has been running since the beginning of May. That's, I think, a good summary. Thanks, Declan.
Brilliant. Thank you, Peter. And next from the STLD, Mike, if I can hand over to you.
Hi, folks. A very good afternoon to you, and welcome to the madness that is the world of television in the middle of COVID. What can we say about the STLD? Basically, our trade body represents, or to give it its full title, is the Society of Television Lighting and Design. So we have members that like television programs, and also production designers that design the sets that you see on your screens all over the world. We also have 3 levels of membership, which would be full members. So that's people like me as a lighting designer, programmers and assistants. And then the second category is student membership, retired and overseas. In terms of our connections, we get a lot of help from our commercial sponsors. So that's companies like your good selves at ETC, through to Ari Strand. And we publish a journal 3 times a year, which writes up our activities. And that gets sent out to members. And one of the strange things, a bit like the ALD's publications, I actually keep them and refer back to the various articles so you can see what's going on over the years. So it'll be, me writing about how I lit a particular show, or new pieces of technology that we get involved in. And again, it's run entirely by volunteers, with no fully paid officials at all on the STLD committee. So it's run by the membership, for the membership, very much like Plaza and a lot of the trade associations that I'm hearing about this afternoon. I mean, the STLD was started in around about 1972, 73, when various lighting directors and lighting designers got together from the BBC and commercial television, because in those days, the two industries didn't talk to each other. And certainly as we move on in this strange, mad world of COVID, there's an awful lot of what I've described as coalescing. Theatre shows are being put out on the cinema. That's a large part of my work. Video is being used increasingly in conferences, and you may not spot the differences, but you'll certainly notice the differences between whether something's well lit for video or film, or whether it's badly lit for film. I think that's probably about it in terms of a very brief potted history of the STLD.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mike. That's great. Thank you very much, everybody. I think the big thing that I really wanted to chat about in this session is, 2020 has been a weird year. There's no getting away from that. There's no denying it. But I think it's been amazing to see how all the associations have rallied and done things to help the members and support their members and support the industry. And part of this session is really just as a thank you from us as manufacturers and me as an industry member. Just a thank you to all of you for everything that you've been doing. I think it's amazing that you guys have been out there and waving the banner for everybody. So I'd just like to come back and again I'll do the same round robin in the same order, just so I make sure I don't leave anyone out. If we can just have a chat about some of the amazing things that have been going on over the past year, and looking ahead if there are any great projects coming up that you want to let us know about. So Joe and Stuart, if I can come back to you.
Okay, thank you. One of the things I was going to say is I took over as chair 3 years ago at the ALD, and it seems to have been a constant campaign since then. Because we mustn't forget the ALD was very forefront in the stage lighting campaign only 3 years ago, and that has now won its final battle only a couple of weeks ago. In that. All the legislation we wanted to have added has gone in there, and that's been fantastic. And then with SPTD, we did the value of design the year after that, trying to make sure that producers and the unions actually started to speak to us and listen to us and understand what the craft is that we now do in this modern industry. And I think that's been one of the biggest changes over the last few years, that all the associations, especially the ones that work within the theatre industry, have really been working closely together at doing. And that has been showing that, we don't just walk in and drop a few flats anymore. There is such skill behind all the work everybody does, from the set designing right through to the technician, who now needs to know such an immense craft of computerization and electronics in order to just do their jobs these days. And that has, when I started in the industry in the 80s, and I feel like I'm still quite young at doing my job, I went into work with a spanner, and now I have to go in with a laptop full of information just to be able to do my job. And I don't think that's really been appreciated within the industry by the theatres. And I think that's a campaign that sort of has been moving forward slowly, and has had some pretty good friction with, especially, I think the unions are actually listening to us a little bit than the producers at the moment on that. And unfortunately, 2020 sort of slightly put a brake on that, but also it's also realised that conversation can now happen between associations and the people who make the work, the producers. whether that's through Freelancers Make Theatre Work and people understanding actually who we are and what we do. And I think that's one of the major things that's come through generally across us all this year. Within the ALD itself, we've actually used some of this time to actually, because we're all busy working, so we have these great ideas to improve contracts or make sustainability better or work on diversity. And it takes us months to get anything done, because to get any of us in a room together at the same time is really hard. So one of the things we've really concentrated on in this year of being at home is getting some of this stuff done. So we have, we've now got a sustainability working group headed by Paulie Constable, which is fantastic. And we've introduced a green charter for our members, all our members to sign up to. It's a green charter to take into work with you, to think about and to think about what you do in your own practice, but what's actually happening in the production overall that you're working on, and have some responsibility towards that. That green charter, all these things that I'm going to mention are actually sitting on the free side of our website at the moment. We made a big choice at the beginning of the year that we needed to change the face of the industry, and to do that we couldn't keep it a private behind a paywall thing. Everything had to be out for everybody to share and use. We launched this year our 2020 Lumiere scheme. Normally we have a Lumiere scheme where we put somebody, we raise money in order to have an emerging lighting designer, usually from a background that's not come through college, or somebody who's mid-career and wants to change from being a technician to a lighting designer. And they spend 6 months with lots of lighting designers around the country, and we pay for that to happen. This year we couldn't do that, of course, and thanks to some very kind sponsorship from people, we were able to launch Lumiere 2020. We put 130 lighting designers with 130 emerging designers, and they're on a 10-week one-to-one mentorship scheme. God, I should have written that down better than I did. 130 lighting designers with 130 emerging designers on a 10-week one-to-one mentorship scheme. It has been fantastic, and I want to thank everybody who's been involved with that. And it runs along another thing called Team Lumiere, which was, we didn't have enough lighting designers and we had too many emerging lighting designers, so we grouped them all together, and they have talks from different lighting designers every week, and those are recorded, and they have an hour and a half long conversation with industry practitioners, not just lighting designers, also industry practitioners. And our next thing we really want to do is do that for production staff, programmers, production electricians, etc. So that's been great. We have worked on our diversity and representation working groups. That's built up and more people have got involved with that. And we're now looking at going on courses and offering courses to gain better understanding of diversity and moving forward, moving the association forward in what we need to understand about diversity and representation. We have a newly created wellbeing working group that was formed this year, has come out of the situation. It's something we've been talking about for a long time. It's mainly been based on how good your working conditions are, your production desk, the accommodation you're put in, all of that sort of stuff. But of course, it's developed much more than that and grown as a group, as people, need more help and people to talk to. And we've done a buddy scheme. We have walk with a friend. We've encouraged the Freelancers Make Theatre Work coffee mornings that have been happening, picnics outside, and having a place for people to come and talk to. And their buddy scheme is being launched next week, which is great. And that's been based on the association, the SMA's buddy scheme, which has been very successful, I believe. The professionals working group have finished writing all the contract chess lists. We just felt that we needed people to understand what should be in a contract. As an association, we don't have the legal position to create contracts, but we can create a checklist that people can look at. And we've created them from light designers all the way down to the lighting technician who may be employed for a day, gets an email from somebody going, can you come and work for the day? They can now just go, I need to just know that this, and this are in that email. And it's having that understanding. And they're all drawn up and they're now free still on the open side of the ALD website. We've created a best practice charter that we now have producers signing up to. And we also have our own members' best practice charter, which we expect every member of the ALD to sign up to. Tell me to shut up if I'm going on for too long. But I have to write these things down, otherwise I go blank. This has all happened alongside a constant barrage of campaigning that's been happening this year, getting our members to campaign, getting them teach. I didn't know how to write a letter to my MP a year ago. Making sure all that sort of information was available for people to be able to get on with it and do it, and encouraging them to do it. And we've been part of We Make Events. We've been encouraging our members to go out on those events, be part of them, contribute to that. And on a more sort of friendly level, we've just increased our socials. We had every Thursday we provided tutorage, product placement, drinks, quiz nights, you name it. We've been doing it over the last year, and they are continuing now monthly every Thursday. And anybody's welcome to come and join us really on a Thursday social. I'm going to shut up now.
Brilliant, thanks, Joe. That's amazing. I'm always amazed at how much.
If you want to ask me any more questions on it,
at how much everyone's been able to do. Meg, if I can come across to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like everybody, the fabulous things that are going on. So I'll try to be as concise as possible. So I'm probably going to get shot if I don't mention the text standards. So apologies for not mentioning it at all. It's a glorious book. It's bright yellow. I suspect everybody here has access to it at some point. So obviously the ABTT published this glorious yellow, I like to call it the yellow book, but it is the technical standards for places of entertainment book. And the great thing about the Association of British Theatre Technicians is that we work very collaboratively with a lot of other people. So it is published by, with support of in the Theatre Safety Committee, and that Theatre Safety Committee is made up from people from SALT UK Theatre, the Independent Theatre Council, Institute of Entertainment, Arts Management, Little Theatrical Guild, Society of Independent Theatres, the Stage Management Association, Equity and Musicians Union, and BEC2. So I just kind of want to reiterate to you that the ABTT, and I think with all of these associations, as much as we're separate, we all very much work together. And the ethos here at the ABTT is that we do reach out to the ALD and to various different places to work together, and that's very much been our ethos. But this fabulous book exists, and although it's not the most exciting read, it has everything that you can potentially ever need as an answer in there, and my students use it all of the time to get the answers to code of practice issues working backstage, and it is recognised by the HSE as well. So yeah, just so that I don't get shot about that one. So what have we been doing during lockdown? So we obviously created our guidance notes, which are available on our website. So we have the topics include assessments for returning to work in the place of entertainment, returning to work support information, production and technical departments, blah, blah, blah. I won't bore you with it. Go on the website, have a look. 101 through 106, fabulous guidance notes. A great place to start if you're beginning to look at working COVID compliantly in this weird landscape that we're in. So we also had to cancel our theatre show, so the ABTT theatre show. So we'd normally all go to Ali Pally for a beer, wouldn't we? Well, that didn't happen this year. But so what we did instead was I helped to curate 2 days of intense, I must add, seminars. And again, very much the ethos of the ABTT is to get everybody else on board. So we got the ASD, the Association of Sound Designers, the ALD involved in that. Also, we did one on hair and makeup. So we work a lot with CETA, so the Costume in the Theatre Association as well. So very much got everybody holistically involved in discussions. We looked at sustainability, mental health, hair and makeup, CAD for performance. The ALD did one, the ASD did one. We even had the historical one as well, which is really, really interesting also. We then carried on after our 2 days of curated show seminars, and we've since gone on to maintain that link and gone on to do more seminars, and we've done more on sustainability, working COVID compliantly. We've got one next week on UVC light. I'm hoping very much that it explains. It's quite complicated, so I'm going to have to do a bit of geeking up before I host that one next week. We did one yesterday where we'd spoke to the producer of Sleepless and looked and Jesus Christ Superstar to see how they produce those fabulous shows during lockdown as well. And our commitment is to carry on doing that also. So we are looking to do one on live streaming. That's our next one. So I haven't phoned Joe yet from the ALD, but I'm sure I'll talk to Joe about how we begin to look at lighting, live streaming as well. So like, again, it will be a lot of collaboration on that one. We also set up the UK Theatre and Live Events Apprenticeship Network. And that was really highlighting a gap that was beginning to appear in pastorally. The apprenticeship network needed a little bit more attention. So at university, students have a lot of care and attention in the education system that they're in. Tamika has done marvellous work in gathering a network together in a place for those young people to network and still stay up to date. I don't know if you've seen, Alicia is our office guru at ABTT, and she's just a social media extraordinaire. So, and she also does all of our website management as well. So there isn't anything that you can't see there. So I encourage you to go and have a little look. We've set up COVID share points as well. So whenever anybody that we've spoken to has spoken to, they've shared documents. So Pirate Crew very early on shared some information about risk assessments. The producer of Sleepless has very kindly given us all of his documentation, and Alicia just fires them all on our website. So go on there. There's a hive of activity going on there in terms of paperwork that you can go and access. All of our seminars are recorded, and they have links available on our website for you to go and rewatch them. And I think they're also streamed on Facebook also. So obviously we are still running the bronze, silver and gold awards, and we've managed to do them COVID compliantly. We are promoting relevant job opportunities and apprenticeships via our social media pages. So we are on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. So and like I said, Alicia is some sort of goddess in social media. So she's does fabulous social media posts. So and we often share an awful lot from the other associations as well. So do feel free to go and follow or hashtag or whatever it is that you do to go and join those particular. It's Instagram. I'm still learning Instagram, Declan.
You and me both. I haven't got a clue. I'm on all of them. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with any of them.
Yeah, so I've got lots of links and things that I'll put in the chat for you, that with resources and things. But other than that, hopefully, I feel like lots of people have seen my face over this lockdown period, but I haven't seen everybody else's face as well. So do get in touch with the office and talk to us at the ABTT. And if you've got any ideas or anything that you would like us to pursue for you, then just let us know.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Peter Harrison, if I can come to you next.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a really challenging year, like everybody else has said. Our whole organisation is based around having local meetings, face-to-face meetings, continuing professional development, all those sorts of things, and everything stopped. I mean, it just stopped overnight. In addition to that, we were aware as an organisation that many of our members were now home working, and we're used to working in busy offices, working on site, and interacting on a daily basis with everybody else. So there were real issues that we were aware of within our membership, particularly in supporting their mental health, if nothing else. So as an initiative from that, we started weekly get-together for lighting professionals, which is open to anybody, that we held on a Monday afternoon from 3 till 5 called Highlights. And we had people joining us on these calls from South Africa, from Pakistan, from India, the Middle East, all over Europe, as well as the UK. And it wasn't necessarily a technical meeting. It was just people introducing themselves, what they're up to, what's making them tick, what worries they had, etc. at that time. We also have a system where we call Lighting for Good, which is something based for our members on the website, which we share information from learned bodies and practitioners. So it sort of closes the loop between people who are doing some theoretical work and those practitioners which are delivering day-to-day lighting projects on site. Like everybody else, because we can't have face-to-face meetings, we have to have our AGM because of our Articles of Association. And the latest we could have that was September, so we arranged an online group at which we had breakout rooms for each of our various branches to have local meetings and get-togethers with them. We also had local papers as well, technical papers, which was really well received. And at our AGM, we started to deliver, we launched our training platform, online training platform. We have a number of training courses, usually one-day courses, which we deliver from our offices in Rugby and other places, as well as a five-day residential course for lighting designers, so 3 5-day, one-day courses. So we've had to suspend all that this year. So we're starting to develop and deliver content online. And that's a whole new ballgame, because whatever you deliver face-to-face has to be different when you deliver it online, just to keep people's attention, if nothing else. And we've been involved with lots of other things. We're currently involved with the All Party Parliamentary Group, which are looking to protect dark skies. As people move out from urban areas into the countryside, they want to be able to enjoy the night sky, to stargaze, etc. And that doesn't mean to say you've got to switch all lighting off. What it means to say is you need to be incredibly careful about how you provide light in these protected environments. So we're working closely with central government and indeed lots of other organisations that want to protect the night sky. So yeah, that's just a bit of a looking at what we've been up to and what we've been doing. We're also having a whole host of webinars which we never had before. Nobody had ever heard of webinars, had to be before all this started. And now we're getting into webinar overload. Or, you could go to different ones. You could spend all day long on webinars. So it's about trying to organise those and make them appropriate to our members' needs. So, yeah, we're learning a whole load of new skills, just like you are, Declan, in hosting these events and getting all the knobs and buttons, and people come on and they're silent and they haven't unmuted themselves. And we're learning a whole set of new skill.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. That's amazing. Nikki and David, if I can come across to you next.
Sure, thank you. I'll jump in again first and hand over to you, David, if that's okay. So I suppose I'm just mindful that this is primarily for lighting designers, so I won't tell you all of the fabulous things that we do at SBTD, but maybe just the ones that are more pertinent to you gorgeous lighting people. Just wanted to reiterate some of the things Joe said, and there is a lot of cross-fertilization between associations at the moment, and there's now an association of associations. Who knew? An ABTT there as well called APTL, which David and I both participate in as well. But joking aside, I mean, I used to, myself, sort of nickname the Society of British Theatre Designers, you know, the People Front of Judea, and then there's the Judean People's Front and the Popular Front, and it feels a little bit like APTL is that, but it is actually genuinely really good. A very positive thing that's come out of COVID. It's not that we didn't talk to each other before. I think we absolutely did. But what Joe was saying about us being busy freelancers, and obviously you're volunteering your time, and just COVID has made things more urgent, and that really has been wonderful to sort of talk to other associations and cross over a bit more. So just in terms of what we've been doing though, so the value of design was really important, as I mentioned before and Joe did, which was launched in 2018, and I think there'll be further movement on that, just to keep our profile up of exactly what we do. And I think even talking amongst the associations, we can all be guilty of not really understanding what each other do, never mind the producer understanding what we do, never mind the general public knowing what we do. I certainly speak for myself. When you sort of family friends when I was younger, you know, it's like set design. I mean, don't you go to isn't there a warehouse with sets in? And you're like, well, no, there's not, you know. So it's how we share what we do with each other. And the whole sort of Prague quadrennial is a way of doing this, and is cross-European and happens every 4 years. And there's a nice cross links with lighting designers, as I said, with that. Staging Places was the most recent one, which was summer of 2019. It then went to the Victoria and Albert Museum in a slightly larger format, and absolutely included designers with their actually some in their own right, and then some as collaborators with set and costume designers. And the show is currently on at the National Centre of Craft and Design in Sleaford, and there are current exhibitions going on there. And then really the things that I think link in with lighting design. So we sort of, not only do we have the working groups, but another thing that's important to us are regional hearts. And we're just very mindful that some of the societies, we've been quite London-centric, and we haven't meant to be, but just perhaps that's where a lot of theatre happens in London. That's where a lot of people have been based. And actually that's changing now. A lot of graduates don't leave where they've studied, or won't be moving to London, move back to where they were brought up. And it's certainly very important to us that we push sort of there are little centres of activity happening in lots of different places, so that it isn't London centric. So lots of activity and new things happening there. And then really with the working groups, likewise we have the sustainability, which is very important to us. And I think probably the busiest, that's been one of the busiest groups. And then the one that David and I are sort of very involved with, the mentoring group, really links in with lighting design. We've had a lot of Zoom meetings for graduates to sort of welcome them into the profession. So for people who've graduated this year to find their feet and feel welcome. And I think painful though we all find Zoom, it has been fabulous to be able to meet people. And as well as the graduates, we've also done more designers drinks, something that we used to do in person, but we've done them online. And that does sometimes mean there's kind of 3 screens to flip through with everyone drinking wine and it all being a bit silly, but you can't quite have the conversations you might want to have in person, but it's certainly better than nothing. And you're very welcome to join us as lighting designers. And I sort of wanted to say you don't have to be a member of SBTD to be involved with the working groups. We kind of want to open out and be as inclusive as possible. And certainly in the mentoring group, we're looking at some more in-person events. We were able to do what we called Coffee on the King's Road, which was at the end of September and beginning of October, for actual in-person in a room. We managed to get 20 people into a room that would normally hold about 300, all spaced apart. We had coffee, we had cake, and we had fabulous conversation. And in fact, we want to do more of those in the regions, and we'd actually like to invite lighting designers to come and speak at those as well. The first round of events were quite focused on designers, experienced designers talking to mid-career younger designers. But again, I think this cross-fertilization, as you get your career going, you do, of course, meet other colleagues. But when you're starting, how do you form those fabulous collaborations with lighting designers, costume designers, makers, etc.? So certainly be in contact with you, Joe, in the future when I've got some space. But it's on my to-do list. David, I'm sorry, I've spoken a lot, but do you want to? You've done so much with comms and communication, and I've probably missed some things as well. So I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, so yeah, we've got all the wonderful things that we've been up to. I've been a member of SBTD for a while. I recently became a member on the committee, and I've taken on the role of being part of the comms team. So really in response to the value of design and what kind of kickstarted designers talking to each other, particularly setting costume designers with ships that pass the night, and trying to catch up on some of the brilliant stuff that ALD do with their community, and just how positive that is. So yeah, we've been a big push to get designers talking to each other more and supporting each other, and getting involved as well. And being offer more to our membership. A lot of designers have looked at SBTD as, oh well, I just signed up to get in the exhibition and then the lovely book that is published, and I might get a chance to go to Prague. And it's become so much more, and we're offering so much more now as well. And so yeah, it's been great being involved in that. Of course, one of the biggest things that SBTD do is the advocation, and particularly recently the new contracts with SALT and UK Theatre, and especially the COVID variants being firmly at the table to protect the design community as a whole as much as possible. Yeah, so I think it's kind of very broad. It's part of the SBT's work that we don't shout that loudly about. We try and let people know, but it takes masses of effort and time to actually be a part of in such a strong way. But yeah, I'm also setting up training for members. So we just start next week. We're starting a program with Vectorworks covering design, set using CAD for set design, going from beginners all the way through to 3D rendering and animations and presentations, with formal training, but then also Q&As and surgeries with designers, talking to designers about how they do what they do, which is yeah, been lots of fun. So yeah,
brilliant. Thank you very much, Matt and Peter Heath. Plaza, I know you guys have been super busy as well.
Yeah. Before we talk about what's been happening this year, Joe mentioned earlier on about the ALD and the work that they did on eco-design or single lighting regulation, and they were certainly very prominent, and so were many other people within Europe, and eventually we all came together and worked together, and there were so our representative was actually somebody called Adam Bennett, who actually works at ETC, so he represented Plaza, and we worked closely with a number of other key associations in Europe, as well as many people, including Rob Halliday from the ALD, and Thomas from the ILD. So that was an awful amount of work, and was still going on, as Joe rightly said, until a few weeks ago. Then the other friendly one is ROHS, which continues to rumble on. And sometimes it's about how do you get rid of a fridge or a lawnmower. Other times it's how do you deal with the products that are made in our industry. So we continue to be busy there, and up until COVID, we were busy with all the other European meetings that we would attend for TC 403 or whatever the number was. We're represented on about 23 of those groups that go across the EU. So very busy doing that. In addition, we have always been running in conjunction with the key stakeholders Plugfest, which was held annually in the UK, and the last couple of years it's been held in mainland Europe, which has been incredibly successful. Sadly, I think the next one might be an online version due to COVID. And now onto COVID. When it first happened, when shutdown first happened, we were busy trying to understand what we should be communicating to our members. So we started to work with a number of other associations, and initially we came up with letters, how you could write to your MP. In fact, in that group was the ABTT, SALT, the PSA, and ourselves. And that kind of ran its course, and then we went off and thought about what we should be doing. We had a chat with our governing body, which includes Matt Lloyd, who is the vice chair. And we came up with the campaign of We Make Events. So initially, up until August the 11th, when we had that large event, which happened to span across the whole of the UK, with lots of regions getting involved, and we also joined up with Light It Red. After that, we decided that we could no longer be the custodians of We Make Events because it was getting too big. And actually, there were so many people. All these people were just doing it pro bono. No one was getting paid. Volunteers, hundreds and hundreds of them. It was absolutely humbling and to see this happen. And then we decided we couldn't be the custodians because it needed more transparency. Not that we weren't transparent. But also a number of people said we would like more associations to be involved. So now there are 26 associations that are part of We Make Events. And in addition to that, we went international, and we now have 31 countries that we have weekly meetings with regarding We Make Events and what we're doing. And in terms of achievements, if you look at what's being achieved, it is phenomenal in terms of where people are getting involved. They're doing something which is all within the law. They're not doing anything which is damaging to any of our parts of our industry, as well as trying to get government to understand who we are and how we work. And the primary goal of We Make Events is to really look after the people and the supply chain to events, because I think government understand what a theatre is and understand what it's supposed to do, but they don't understand really how it does it, or indeed how other events are done. So we've been working really hard to try and get everybody involved to understand it. And we've been using the media an awful lot, and our tier 1, tier 2 media presence now is almost daily. It's certainly weekly. And there have been a number of things that have come out of this which have been really, really productive. But and you might even say that the announcement of the additional 1.2 billion that was announced yesterday or the day before, and indeed the extension of furlough up until March, may well be we may well have contributed to those results. Of course, we'd never have anybody in government going, "Thank you for waking us up," but we have to consider all the work we've done must have contributed to these types of decisions, which will help some, but not all. So we keep on, and we keep on doing a number of things, including fundraising. And I'm going to ask Matt to talk about this now, because he is our key fundraiser. And if you have any pennies in your pocket, he's going to get them now.
No, thank you, Peter. I think with the We Make events, we got together in August, and I was asked to come join Team Group B, which was sponsorship and charities. And we looked at the industry and we realised there was a lot of charities already helping the industry. So rather than start our own charity, let's go to them and we can have a bigger reach of people across the industry. So live event, theatre, rock and roll, festival, back of house, front of house, technical, supply chain, etc. And we think we've been really, really good at that. So we have 4 charities. We have one, the backup, which is the online one, the gift aid. And we have 4 other charities, all on the website. And we split the monies between backup and those charities. We also created a limited company for our commercial activities of merchandise, online auctions. We have some exciting events coming up soon as well. And I think we're doing that for corporate sponsorship. And we put that into the machine as well. And that goes 80% to charities and 20% to running We Make events. But just following from Peter's point about We Make events has been brilliant. I'm vice chair of Plaza. I've been an executive for 10 years. And I've known Joe since I was very young in the industry. That started in 1986. And one of the things, the associations of everyone here, which is brilliant to see everyone and be part of this, thank you, Declan, is that when I've been in various parts of my career, the associations have always been the place I can go and they can put my arm around me and say, "Don't worry, it's going to be okay. What are you doing now? Let's work it out." And that's always been fantastic. And again, what everyone's doing at the moment in terms of volunteers, we all volunteer our time for the associations. It gives a community to that. And with the help of our sponsors and everyone involved, and we all have jobs as well. But it's brilliant to see that as an industry do that. We're not a corporate industry, we're a grassroots industry across all disciplines, I think. And so that's been brilliant. And one of the effectiveness of We Make events has been, as an industry, we looked at ourselves and said, we need to help ourselves because the government, we've got a lot going on. What can we do? And we've really, really got into that. That's been fantastic. So this year, very much so, I think everyone wants to be part of their association and their memberships. And everyone definitely feels that financially it's very hard at the moment. But they all need us. And we're all also turning up our services and helping with passion and commitment and enthusiasm. And it's a great thing to see. And I think we'll see this next year and the year after. We'll see COVID and its effect. It will change our behaviour. Hopefully we'll go back to some things we all love and we all miss. But it's great so that we've all pulled together as an industry and done things about it. So, and We Make events have been a great example of that as well. So it's been brilliant to be involved.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Mike, how about the STLD? I know you guys have had a few things on the go as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very interesting year as you sit in the middle of March and watch your entire work dial disappear. So we've been doing quite a bit of work, cajoling various bits of lunacy coming from the government, particularly in terms of regional television, where I, as a London-based LD, can't go and work in Manchester, but somebody in Manchester can come and work for London. So we've been lobbying government on some of Ofcoms to hopefully try and soon make it a bit more of an equitable industry. The other thing we've done to help our individual members and our corporate members is offer basically a subscription holiday. And I think that's been a very worthwhile thing because people are, is it tough out there. It really is tough. And again, trying to take straw polls and keep providing information going around amongst our members. And to reiterate, I think this forum has been absolutely fantastic from Joanna to Plaza, of which I declare self-interest. My company is a member of Plaza and I'm also a member of the ALD. And I think the fact that we're all pulling together in this crisis is really absolutely superb effort. And the effort that We Make events happen has been absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So I'm aware that we're sort of getting close to our time limit. We have had a question in that I do actually want to put across to everyone because I think it's quite a hot topic. So the question is from Finley Russell. While on the topic of COVID, do you think that the way we work will change as we come out of this, and should we be concerned of these changes? So just sort of quickly, I mean, it's potentially quite a big rabbit hole to go down here, but I think are there any sort of key points that people can be aware of, and if there are any great places, resources for information, if you can all just pop that into the chat, that'd be fantastic. Anyway, jump in, anyone. There's no real order.
Well, I personally, I think that there will be massive change when we come out of it. I don't think COVID's ever going to go away. There might be a vaccine. There may well be a better test and trace. There may well be all those things that help. But I think the work that's gone in to trying to work in a safer way and a better way, I think that will come through. Hopefully it won't be too cumbersome and slow stuff down too much. But fundamentally, as an industry, we will not be able to hold our position as world leaders, will not be able to hold our position as the best innovators, will not be able to hold our position unless we can go back to doing what we do. And the only way we can do that commercially, people can have money to make money and invest money, is by having capacity in venues. And that can only be done through being able to get rid of social distancing or have something else that enables a mass people to gather. So that's the biggest thing. The longer we're not able to put mass gatherings together, the more vulnerable as an industry we become.
Yeah.
The one thing I think that will take a little getting used to, certainly from the actor's point of view, I'm sure, is seeing, staring out into the audience and seeing faces with sort of reflective coverings on, just sort of bouncing light and their own reflection back at them, I think is going to be a bit of a unique experience. It's hopefully there is an outcome for this. Sorry, Joe, I cut you off.
No, I was just going to back what Peter said, and I think as an industry, we're probably in a very good place to technically go back. I think the things that ABTT have done and a lot of the producers have put together, and I having just opened a show myself last week, the respect and the work and how we needed to get the work done, everybody just wanted to do it, and it was all possible. And but my big worry is that financially, the industry is going to shrink because talent is going to have to go and is going to leave the industry, and the money won't be put in, and somehow we need to get support to keep what was a world-leading industry alive over the next few years. That's my big worry, more than the technical side and the health side of actually getting a show back on.
Declan, do you want me? I just all of those points are like amazing, absolutely true that we need to get rid of social distancing. I just wanted to chirp in on the side of a bit of optimism, and that is that there is a lot of innovation going on. So I'm not saying this is the answer, but there's been lots of explanation into digital theatre platforms. I'm not saying that's the answer, and we shouldn't leave. But that does prove that we are world leading, because actually the versatility and the adaptability of our industry to change to the current climate is a testament to how fabulous this industry is. So there's lots of digital theatre that's out there, which the school's out for me on it in that sense, but it is, as a lighting technician myself, there's not much cool for me in it, but it is an interesting platform, and I encourage you to go and have a little look at it. To live stream or to not live stream is the second thing. So obviously we have a social distancing issue, which means our capacities are reduced almost down to about 30% in some cases. So we, the versatility in that is to try and see if we can up our number of live streaming. So we need to really work hard to look at rights for shows and go back to our producers to rework those contracts so that streaming can be a possibility, and just that, you know, there are performances happening, there are live performances happening during this lockdown. So Chichester Festival Hall, go and have a little look. I've got tickets for tomorrow. It's going to be fab. Also Rent up in the Hope Mill Theatre. Although they're not performing live, they have a fabulous recorded version of the live show, which I'm going to very much enjoy watching also. But yeah, absolutely. And that's why, you know, all these associations are working really, really hard to campaign and lobby government. And I think we all stood out there, didn't we, with our red T-shirts on or whatever, involved in that campaign. But I just wanted to chirp in on the side of things are happening. And there's lots of fabulous work being done. And I think what Joe said about we have developed ways of working COVID compliant. So I think as technicians, we can put these gigs up. It's no bother. But of course, there's lots of work that needs to be done on the financial side for producers and for venues. They're currently redoing the algorithms for ticketing at the moment, because of course it's about getting as many bums in as possible. But now it's about getting the bum in and then putting a 1 meter distance around it. So all of these ticketing algorithms had to go back to the software companies and redo all of that. But it's happening. It is happening, guys. So and that's a positive thing, and it just shows how fabulous this industry is. So
I think just adding to that, I think as Peter said, there is definitely positivity, and this will come back. The bounce back from the recession, when we are allowed to behave normally, will absolutely come back. But I think we'll have to learn to live with COVID, whether that's through a test before you go into a theatre, whether that can come back to be fast enough, learn to live with that. But the other thing that's really come out from me with the charities, and some of the people, you know, they are desperate. They do not have a means to get through this, so they're going to wherever we can help them with the grants. And the situation for some people is absolutely awful. And I think one of the things that's made me think about for the freelancers, and again, this is really something to debate openly with associations and its members, is how do you de-risk the freelance community? Because they absolutely have to do that, because there may be another pandemic. We may still have coronavirus next year. It may be it may change itself. And so I was thinking about this in terms of, should freelancers put half their money into PAYE and half their money into dividends, or into however they gain their money. And so if there is a problem, they are included in government backup. That's just an idea. I've certainly realised if people had some money from furlough, it would get them over the line where they're not getting over the line at the moment.
Yeah, I think there are definitely ongoing conversations that can be had. I think it's been. I think when it first happened, nobody expected it to last as long as it did. I think we all thought, oh, it'll be a month lockdown and we'll sort of carry on. And, you know, here we are, whatever we are, eight or 9 months in now. And like you said, there's no definitive end as to, you know, what's going to happen. But I think keeping ourselves informed is hugely important. And the associations have all been doing great work there. There's loads of information online. And I think, you know, the onus comes back to the freelancers who support the industry and who now, as a result, feel slightly let down by all of this. That, you know, we have a voice, and you know, feel free to use it. Feel free to reach out to your associations. Everyone is here to help. You know, I mean, putting this together was really, it was a quick round robin of emails and everyone was on board. Everyone is absolutely happy to help, which I'm eternally grateful. Thank you very much. But, you know, and I know that at being a member of associations myself, I know that extends to all your members. So, you know, people should absolutely, and it is hard. It's hard for everyone, but, you know, you're not alone. Reach out. We're all here. Everyone's here. You know, and, you know, if you want to chat, and you don't have my details, Google me. I'm online and my details are there. Phone me, email me. Let's have a conversation. And I'm sure anyone, you know, feels the same. It's really not a problem.
We're on wemakeevents.com. There's the charity page, and we've listed backup and also the further 4 charities, of which there's mental health, music support, stagehand, and acting for others, which is the site. And anyone can go to those charities, and they're open ears, people to talk to, find financial help other people. They're there, and they are there 24/7 helping people out, and they're doing a great job. They're there for our industry. So if you want to check it out, wemakeevents.com. Please send anybody there. It's all listed there, the information.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I think that kind of sort of brings us to the end of our session. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time. I appreciate you giving up your Friday evening to join us. And thank you again for everything you do for the industry. And it is appreciated. I know sometimes it feels like a thankless task, but it is absolutely appreciated. The industry wouldn't be the same without you. And from my side, thank you very much for being willing to join this session.
Brilliant. Thank you, Declan.
Thanks for having us.
And thanks for everybody who supports We Make Events. And for those of you who haven't supported yet and you want to, just go to the website and start supporting. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening and a good weekend.